Let's work on adding some sound effects now. Sound effects will be a little bit different than background music in that they're effects that just pop on for a brief moment and then they're gone. If you look at the documentation, you can see that Unity already provides something like this under the audio source class, and there's a static method called playClipAtPoint. This method basically creates a generic object with an audio source component attached. It assigns the proper clip that we give it, and then it plays the clip at a certain point in 3D space, and then it disposes of the object afterward. We can also specify a volume as an optional parameter. All right, to use this, in my game controller, I'll set up a reference to the sound manager called mSoundManager. We hadn't done that before. So sound manager, mSoundManager. It's private, but like the other critical components to the game, I can use find object of type to locate it. You can switch the inspector to debug mode if you want to take a peek at the private variables, remember that. So mSoundManager equals game object, find object of type, sound manager, and it's a generic function, so I'm going to put sound manager in the funky little angle brackets. Now we can also issue a warning if we don't find the sound manager, just like the other critical components. And then we can protect update just by modifying our first little defensive guard up here. So if we don't have an mSoundManager, then we should return out and never run anything else in update. So typically we'll call audio source playClipAtPoint like this. Audio source.playClipAtPoint. And then the first parameter will be the clip, the audio clip that you want to play. And then we'll specify a position that you want to create the audio source object. And then you'll pass in an optional float for the volume. So we'll add this audio source playClipAtPoint everywhere we want to add a sound in the game controller. We just need to swap out the correct audio clip for the first parameter, depending on what sound you want to play. You'll note that we're going to play the sound at the position of the camera, which doubles as our audio listener. We don't really have a sense of spatial awareness in this game, so I'm going to treat most of the sounds like they're essentially 2D, and we're just going to play them right at the listener position. If you want to test it yourself, you can put this line at the bottom of your start method of the game controller. You have to put it anywhere after these guards. Make sure that in the inspector that your mMoveSound is assigned to one of your sound effects. It doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to pick one like Finn's failure, which kind of sounds like an error message. And then I'll put in audio source, playClipAtPoint, mSoundManager, and I'll put in the move sound, and then I'll play that at the camera main transform position, and then I'll feed in the sounds manager's effects volume for the volume of the sound. Now before we press play, go ahead and disable the music in the sound manager so you can hear the sound effects more clearly. Then go ahead and press play. If you pause immediately after you press play, you'll see that Unity creates a game object called one-shot audio, and it has an audio source attached to it, and then it plays it. After the sound finishes playing, Unity cleans up after itself and it destroys this one-shot audio game object. Toggling a sound effect is going to be a bit more complicated than toggling the background music because we have a new object created every time an effect is played. So what we're going to have to do is put in a check for Sound Manager's effects enabled property every time we play a sound effect. So we'll just add a little check right in the front, just checking to see if effects is enabled. And we're also going to need to add a little check for the mMoveSound to make sure that it exists. If you try to call the playClipAtPoint and the mMoveSound is not defined in the Sound Manager, then you're going to get a reference exception error. So let's just put in a little check so that never happens. Okay, so go ahead and try to play it. Stop the editor, then uncheck effects enabled in the inspector of the Sound Manager, and press play again. If everything worked properly, then you shouldn't hear the sound, and there shouldn't be a one-shot audio created at all. Because effects wasn't enabled, then we actually didn't run any of the code in this code block. All right, let's go ahead and clear that stuff out of the start method. I recommend you just highlight it all and just cut it to the clipboard since we're going to use it later. We're just not going to use it here in the start method. That was just for testing. All right, we won't need that in the real game there. Now we just want to set up all the sounds in our sound manager now. We're going to have a beep or something that indicates that the shape has landed at the bottom of the board. We're going to have a slight audible tick when we move left or right or rotate. We'll have a rewarding sound when we clear one or more rows. And of course, we'll have a failure sound when the game is over. So let's go ahead and populate these clips in the inspector of the sound manager. For the clear row sound, we're going to have something called Shine, Phoenix, Stormcrow, Rhodes Mass, Level Up 1. All right, I know that's a mouthful. Then for move sound, we're just going to drag in the click sound. And then for the drop sound, we're going to use this green couch beeps. And then for the game over sound, there's a Hike and Freak Transformers type SFX2. Sorry, I didn't come up with those names except for click. Now that these are set up, we can create our first sound effect for real now. Let's do the shape landing sound effect. All right, we need some kind of audio cue to tell the player that the shape has come to rest at the bottom of the screen or on top of another shape. And this should happen when the shape lands, so naturally we're going to trigger it from the game controller's land shape method. All right, so let's put this line into land shape. So basically we'll just check to see the sound manager's effects enabled and our drop sound exists. Then audio source, play clip at point. We'll use the sound manager's drop sound and we'll instantiate the sound at the camera's position. And then we will use the volume setting from the sound manager. Okay, so if we save that and we press play, then we get a satisfying squelch when you drop the shape. So go ahead and do that. That sounds a lot more interactive now. Now let's verify that our effects enabled and effects volume options work for the sound manager. And they do. So if I dial the effects volume down and then I drop a shape, you'll see that the volume of the sound has dropped. And then if I uncheck effects enabled, then I don't hear the dropping shapes. Okay, just like with the music, we can't expect the player to have access to the editor. We need to set up our little icon button in the user interface to toggle our sound effects being enabled or not. So in our sound manager, let's add something very similar to toggle music. I think I'm going to call it toggle effects. And then this is actually even simpler than toggle music. It's just a public function that returns nothing called toggle effects. So we just set effects enabled to not effects enabled. So true to false or false to true, depending on what we're set at. Now we'll need to hook this into our user interface with the UI button component, just like with the music. So let's drill down into our canvas overlay. We'll find the main panel, find the lower right panel, and we should find this object that says effects. Go ahead and add a UI button component to effects. And then for the target graphic and the button component, we will assign the effects icon object. Then go ahead and click the plus icon and drag the sound manager into the first field, and then select sound manager toggle effects in the dropdown. Okay, well, press play to test it. Let's drop some shapes. You hear that nice squelch. And then we toggle the effects button. And now you can drop the shapes in silence. Now you're going to have to note that every time we reload the level, your preferences aren't saved. So we're going to start with the defaults, which is the sound being turned on. And that happens because we're reloading the level and not saving the data. All right, so hopefully you figured out how this is generally going to work. We just call audio source play clip at point and generate an audio source object that we can place anywhere in our scene. In the next lesson, we're going to start populating the sounds for a few other events in the game.